Today on Public Eye News, Brett Kavanaugh is ready to take his position on the Supreme Court, and the UN gives a dire warning for the planet's future.
Caleb Rydell will take a look around the UP on a rainy Monday, and Erica Flink gives us a gridiron update in sports. Hi, I'm Samantha Carter.
And I'm Devon Lanier, and this is Public Eye News. NMU wrapped up its annual family weekend on Sunday, and dining services served a special thank you in the form of brunch to visiting families. The Lights, Northern's newest dining hall, partnered with Hospitality Management Club to serve scrambled eggs, breakfast strata, swirled French toast, and cherry smoked ham to students and their families. The Lights is freshly renovated from the former marketplace. It opened in late September. On Saturday, NMU hosted a UP-wide conference for those interested in the study of cannabis. Professionals on the medical and business side of plant chemistry were in attendance at the first cannabis symposium hosted by CARE, an NMU student organization. Nursing students and members of law enforcement were also invited to attend. The club said they hoped the conference was a chance to connect like-minded individuals interested in plant chemistry to helpful resources.
In an update to a missing persons case out of Munising, 75-year-old Nancy Bouchard was found this morning at approximately 11:30 a.m. Bouchard has been last seen leaving her home 4 days ago on Thursday, October 4th. On Sunday, October 7th, around 5 p.m., a group of hunters located Bouchard's vehicle stuck on a two-track road near the area of Howe Lake in Alger County. Today, she was found about 1.5 miles from her vehicle in a wooded area, approximately 75 yards off the two-track road. She was transported by Alger County EMS to UP Health System Marquette, where she will be treated for exposure. And a public-private partnership between Ford Driving Skills for Life and the Michigan Office of Highway Safety Planning could lead to safer roadways. The two organizations are collaborating for this year's Strive for a Safer Drive, a driver's awareness campaign targeted at teen drivers. The program will be implemented in up to 75 Michigan high schools, and each school will receive $1,000 to conduct their campaign. Students in participating schools will have the opportunity to attend free Ford DSFL hands-on driving clinic in the spring with professional driving instructors.
Club 906 held their grand opening of the Sawyer Disc Golf Course this weekend in KI Sawyer. The 9-hole course is free to the public and features more than 40 acres of space for people to launch disc. According to Club 906 president Jamie Vinson, there's also lots of room for the course to grow into something bigger. However, he said the 906 Club will look to the community to help sponsor that growth. Michigan Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley announced today that the state will receive nearly $56 million in federal funds to continue its work in reducing opioid use and abuse. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration notified the Michigan DHS that the state is being awarded nearly $28 million in grants this fiscal year and next fiscal year to support its opioid response. Key initiatives to reducing opioid use include prevention, treatment, and recovery, according to Michigan.gov. And we'll have more for you after the break.
On American Experience.
The American circus turned entertainment into an industrial enterprise.
It is unprecedented in the history of Western show business.
Imagine a big top that seats over 10,000 people. It transforms America into a nation with a shared cultural identity.
The Circus on American Experience.
Tonight at 9 after Antiques Roadshow on Public TV 13.
Welcome back. In upstate New York yesterday, a supersized limousine crashed and killed 20 people outside of a country store. The crash killed 18 of its passengers and 2 pedestrians. The passengers were on their way to a brewery for a birthday party when the incident occurred. The National Highway Traffic Transportation Safety Administration is investigating the crash and has stated that the limo had been rebuilt and that the way it was put together violated federal law. Whether or not the passengers or driver were wearing seatbelts or drinking alcohol is still yet to be determined. New Supreme Court Associate Justice Brett Kavanaugh will get a public swearing-in tonight after a weeks-long tense battle over his nomination. Yet both parties are vowing that the fight isn't over. Mola Lenghi has more details from the White House.
Associate Justice Brett Kavanaugh was sworn in privately over the weekend after sexual misconduct accusations threatened to derail his path to the Supreme Court. Later this evening, he will be sworn in publicly at the White House.
A justice of the United States Supreme Court who was a top scholar, top student, top intellect, and who did nothing wrong. And there was no corroboration of any kind.
GOP Senate leaders are also claiming victory.
I couldn't be prouder of the Senate Republican Conference.
Meanwhile, the top Democrat in the House, Nancy Pelosi, issued a release saying she would file a Freedom of Information Act on what was in the FBI supplemental background investigation. Quote, so that the public can see the FBI report, transcripts of the underlying interviews, instructions sent to the FBI from the White House, and any communications to the FBI from Senate Republicans regarding the scope of the investigation. With midterm elections for congressional seats less than a month away, leaders in both parties hope the Kavanaugh showdown plays big at the polls.
Ironically, the behavior of first Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee and then the overreach of the protesters at the Capitol have actually energized the Republican base, particularly in the red states where we're trying to pick up seats.
One of those seats Republicans want to pick up is Democratic Senator Heidi Heitkamp's in North Dakota. She voted against Kavanaugh.
I have too much respect for the institution of the Supreme Court, and I'm not going to be the person who makes a decision based on whether I get 6 more years in Washington, D.C.
Associate Justice Kavanaugh will take his seat on the Supreme Court starting tomorrow, October 9th. Mola Lengi, CBS News, the White House.
Preventing an extra single degree of heat could make a life or death difference in the next few decades for swaths of people and ecosystems on Earth. This warning came from scientists of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change who issued the report at a meeting in South Korea on Sunday. In a 728-page document, the UN organization detailed how Earth's weather, health, and ecosystems would be in better shape if the world's leaders could somehow limit future human-caused warming to just 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit instead of the globally agreed-upon goal of 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit. The report states global warming is likely to reach 1.5 degrees Celsius between 2030 and 2052 if it continues to increase at the current rate. A brawl after a UFC championship fight in Las Vegas is now under investigation by the Nevada Athletic Commission. Ultimate Fighting lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov is now facing possible fines and suspension after he jumped from the cage seconds after defeating UFC star Conor McGregor. It was the culmination of a long simmering rivalry between the two fighters whose face-off was billed as the biggest fight in UFC history.
It was supposed to be the end of the fight, with UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov defeating Conor McGregor in the 4th round.
Khabib Nurmagomedov!
But it was just the beginning.
And now Khabib jumps the fence.
Whoa! Even before savoring his victory, Nurmagomedov climbed over the cage and charged at one of McGregor's coaches, who witnesses say was taunting the Russian fighter.
Total chaos here.
A member of Nurmagomedov's team then jumped the cage and punched McGregor in the back of the head.
This is not the way you want to represent the sport here.
UFC President Dana White, who has worked to clean up the sport's image, condemned the post-fight brawl.
You know, this is one of those spillover events where soccer moms are buying the pay-per-view and watching it at big parties and stuff. And this is how the night ends. It's just really disgusting and disappointing for me.
Disappointing, perhaps, but not surprising.
Did you not see me outside the bus now?
The animosity between the two fighters had been building for months. McGregor pleaded guilty to assault after throwing a hand truck at a bus Nurmagomedov was traveling on back in April. The UFC used the video in promotional ads for Saturday night's fight, which they titled Bad Blood. USA Today reporter Martin Rogers was at the fight.
Dana White had the chance to say there's not going to be a rematch between these two guys. Did he take that opportunity? Of course he didn't. He knows there's a lot of money to be made down the track, and they're going to capitalize upon that.
Nurmagomedov apologized, but says his opponent should bear some responsibility.
What about he talked about my religion, he talked about my country, he talked about my father. He come to Brooklyn and he broke bus. What about this?
And after the break, we'll have your weather and sports. Stay tuned.
Next time on The Great American Read.
For the first time in my life, someone was talking about my own life.
Elizabeth Bennet is a modern heroine and is the independent spirit.
We think of Scarlett as the Southern Belle.
The Joy Luck Club, Pride and Prejudice, and Gone with the Wind are just a few of the books we'll explore when we embrace what we do for love on The Great American Read.
Tuesday night at 8 and Wednesday afternoon at 1.
Welcome back. I'm Caleb Rydell, going to be taking you through your weather for today. As you can see behind me on the NMU campus, we got a little bit of water out there, and that doesn't seem like it's going to be changing throughout the week. Taking a look at right now, we're looking at some rain out there with a temperature of 46 degrees, winds out of the northeast at 7 miles per hour, and a barometric pressure of 30.03 inches and falling. Taking a look tonight, we're going to see rain out there with a low of 44 and winds out of the north at 8 miles per hour. Tomorrow, we're also going to see some of that rain. That water's just not going to go away, and we're going to get a high of 46 and winds out of the northeast at 11 miles per hour. Taking a look across the UP, we're going to start up in Sault Ste. Marie. We got some clouds out there in Sault Ste. Marie with 50 degrees. Manistee with 54, Escanaba with 56, and down in Menominee 59. Taking a look at the western half of the UP. Rain over in Iron Mountain with 54. Cloudy out there in 49 in Ironwood. Up in the Keweenaw Houghton is our only bit of sun out there with 46 degrees. And back here in Marquette, we got rain and we got 46 degrees. Let's take a look at your week ahead. On Wednesday, we're looking at a high of 58 with a low of 42 and some rain out there. Thursday, a high of 45 and a low of 35 with some clouds. Friday, we're looking at a high of 40 and a low of 34 with some clouds. Well, Erica, we are battling the weather out there for sure, and I hear NMU had their own battle this weekend.
They sure did, Caleb. Saturday was a great day for Jake Mayon, but not for the Wildcats as they lost 27-24 to Northwood in a close contest. Despite scoring 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, the Wildcats were not able to overcome the 10-point lead Northwood held at the beginning of the quarter. Jake Mayon, despite the loss, ran for a career-high 256 yards. This now puts Mayon even closer to the all-time career rushing record at NMU. He now sits just 294 yards away from breaking the record currently held by Steve Avery, who played for the Cats from 1985 through 1988. The Wildcats are back in action next week and hit the road to take on Saginaw Valley. The game starts Saturday at 1 p.m. In other football news, one of the most storied rivalries in the NFL took to the field yesterday as the Detroit Lions hosted the Green Bay Packers in NFC North action. When the dust settled, it would be the Lions victorious 31-23. However, the big story coming out of the game was the poor performance of Packers kicker Mason Crosby. Crosby missed 4 out of 5 field goals, missing 4 in a row before sending a 41-yarder through the upright with a mere seconds left in the game. On top of this, Crosby also missed an extra point. In a season of poor performances by kickers leading to firings, it will be interesting to see what the future holds for Mason Crosby.
Pretty interesting stories about some fall sports, and I have a fall sports story as well. As fall sports start to heat up, I know a few couples that might be interested in this event. More than 30 teams competed in this year's annual North American Wife Carrying Championship. The event featured male competitors competing in a 278-yard obstacle course while carrying a woman. The winners walked away with the woman's weight in beer and 5 times her weight in cash. But that's all the time we have for you here today at Public Eye News. Tune in again tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.